Oh man,
Who hops in that Red Bull for them though if someone's sick? Because Danny Rick wasn't their third driver anymore.
it's Nick
Uh,
DeVries,
it would be Nick DeVries.
and he gets first
How
place.
poetic would that be? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Revved Up Podcast. Thank you for joining us wherever you choose to get your podcast. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe, rate and review us. My name is Marwan Osman, and I am joined by the one and only Edgar O'Neill. Edgar, what's going on, man?
Not much. Excited to talk this race.
Me too, and so is that Thanos?
Thanos.
And so he's excited to talk about the race too.
Yeah, he is.
But no, let's just dive right into this thing. First, got to give the people the recap. Jump into qualifying because I'll be honest, I don't really watch free practice like that. So
Yeah,
just gonna jump right to qualifying. We saw Lewis Hamilton P1,
yeah.
followed by Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Another thing worth noting in qualifying, which I have to make at least one note of this, was the Alfa Romeo. Both Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu ended up in Q3. I think Joe started what, P5 or P6, something like that. But yeah, though they had a great qualifying session. They had a great free practice session too, for whatever that's worth. And we saw George Russell out in Q3, P18. Carlos Sainz somewhere in Q2, and then Sergio Perez ended up in P9. So yeah, qualifying was eventful, and definitely may come back to that. Then we had the race. Obviously, Max Verstappen P1,
Yep.
followed by Lando Norris and his teammate
Yeah.
Sergio Perez. So it was an eventful race, and we don't need to have the same conversation over and over again about take out Max Verstappen, and we have an
Yeah.
entertaining race.
Though it
But
was pretty bad this time. Like it was 30 seconds
it
again. Like,
it's a valid point to make. I'll say
yeah.
that. But no, just so first, before we even like dive into the race itself and even talk about qualifying,
Mhm.
I want to talk about just going into the race.
Mhm.
And honestly, I need to confess something here.
Okay.
So I was fooled. I was starting to get reeled in by these other
So
teams, by these other drivers. I was starting to just have a little bit of hope. I saw them creeping up on Red Bull, and now obviously I knew there's no catching Max Verstappen, there's no catching Red Bull. But I was starting to be under the impression that we were gonna get some more competitive races, some fireworks down the stretch of this season. But that was all shattered after about 3 seconds into the race on Sunday.
yeah.
But no, it was just a feeling that I was starting to have, and it's been stamped shut by Max Verstappen. So how are you feeling though going into this race?
I mean, I didn't have any expectations. I think this season has kind of like pummeled me in terms of like having expectations because they're never going to be met. They just never are. But I was aware of what I wanted to look for in this race, which was I wanted to see if McLaren was going to keep showing up, which they did. I would say they did, in my opinion. Um, I definitely wanted to see how Ricardo was going to perform, especially compared to Yuki. Um, and I am a little saddened that he did so well. Like he did a great job. He did a great job. Yeah, okay, fine. He did a great job. Feel bad for Yuki. And then coming off of qualifying, I just wanted to see if Mercedes was going to capitalize on the pole. And I don't know. I, yeah, yeah. I don't know if
And
the
well, that was answered pretty quickly.
yeah,
That
yeah,
will Mercedes capitalize on pole. And honestly, though, one thing this season has given us is it's felt like every week going into these races, we've had some storylines to watch out for. So
mhm,
it hasn't all just been, what's the point? Red Bull's dominating. There are other
yeah.
things to watch out for. In this
Drive to
case,
Survive is going to be entertaining.
oh, definitely. We thought we weren't gonna see any more Danny Rick in Drive to Survive, but nope,
Yeah,
he's back.
yep.
He is back. But no, yeah, like you said, just seeing if McLaren will be able to have a repeat of last 2 weeks ago, whenever that
Like
was.
the last two races, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. Seeing if they're able to continue what they've been building off of here, that was definitely something I was looking forward to watch. But no, I was watching that gap to pole. I was seeing it starting to shrink a little bit, and I guess it was a bit of a mirage. Like you're walking through the desert. You see like a mirage. In this case, the desert is just like Red Bull's dominance.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
very clunky analogy, I know,
No, I
but
mean, no,
you're
hey,
following
it
me.
is great.
See, now that is a good teammate.
Mhm.
But no, so I guess for whatever reason, I saw these times starting to shrink, and a lot of that was due to the Haas catching on fire and bringing out a safety car. This is honestly what I'd say is closer to normal for what we're getting this season, without any safety cars, without really any holdups in the race. I think this gap is really what we should be expecting to see going forward. But yeah, so just overall though, reaction to the race. Just how are you feeling after this thing concluded?
You're asking me if it was entertaining? No.
I
Yeah.
like the bluntness of it though.
Yeah, I just wasn't. Like
Mhm.
I was like watching it, I was like, okay, okay. I just wasn't entertained by this one. Maybe I had
Yeah,
an off week. I don't know.
and typically though, like the Hungarian Grand Prix is one that is usually not the best when it comes to entertainment. We rarely see safety cars in this one, which is odd. You'd think every now and then we'd at least see cars breaking down or something, but no, it's a pretty rare occurrence, honestly, to get a safety car here. And yeah, that gap to pull that 30-second lead victory for Max Verstappen is kind of what you get when you have a track like this. Um,
Hmm.
but no, before that though, I want to actually talk about the most entertaining part of the race, though, which was the start of the race.
Hmm.
Um, we saw Lewis Hamilton on pole, Max Verstappen right there next to him, followed by Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. Um, man,
Yeah. I've been
what
loving the McLarens in these begin. Like I rewatched it again, and I love watching the McLarens at the start of this race.
I feel like that's not going to be the last time you say that. I think you're
I hope
saying
not.
it
I
sounds
hope it's
like
not.
you're saying it in disbelief. Like there's a hint of disbelief in your voice when you say that.
Well, because it feels like you can see that they've talked about strategy beforehand and that it's actually because like it was kind of the same as Silverstone, where Piastri went like drove towards the inside and Lando Norris was gonna try to take the outside. And it was just nice to see.
And honestly, the whole race, it did have a similar feeling to Silverstone with the tire strategy, where it seems like we had cars kind of starting on different. Most of the field was on mediums, but then we had
Mhm.
some on hards. Or yeah, we had some on hards, and they were trying to see who would who would play that right. I just got to give a quick shout out to Nico Hulkenberg, 40 laps on mediums.
Oh,
So
I didn't.
I think
Wow.
I think we need to start awarding, give one driver an award
Mhm.
for the best stint. And in this
Oh, okay.
case, it's Nico Hulkenberg, 40 laps on the mediums. It's an actually worthless award
Mhm.
because I don't think he finished in the points or anything. But
Does he get flowers for it?
I got to be careful about giving out flowers. I feel like that's too prestigious.
But did we give flowers last episode?
I don't know. Actually, I can't remember. I might not have done that. Well, I guess we
Yeah,
have to give two
two
sets of
flowers.
flowers now.
We'll
Uh,
decide at the end. Nico is maybe there.
it's hey, I want to at least highlight that because that was
Yeah.
impressive to me. Um, but no, I'm with you overall though. Not a very entertaining race, but hey, they can't all be, because then
Yeah.
none of them would be, right? No, it doesn't work like that. Sorry, no. I was
Incredible.
I was trying to do a play on like Syndrome from Incredibles.
No, I know what you were
Everybody's
doing.
okay. You knew what I was doing. Okay, uh, but no, at least the race start was entertaining. We had that going for us.
Yeah.
But real quick, I don't think we talked about this yet. Before we move on, the
Mhm.
qualifying format experiment. So
Oh, the new tires.
yeah, Q1 hard, Q2 mediums, Q3 soft. The goal is to reduce the amount of tires that you get during the weekend
Yeah.
and, save the environment, which, hey, kudos for trying.
Yeah.
But what did you think about the whole experiment?
I mean, I get it. I think okay, so I'll say it this way. I like it because it's uniform. And I do like when they make the cars compete like on a level playing field.
I really want to see what goes on in those meetings of how they make their decisions.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Because I
It's
just I don't why wouldn't you I mean I can kind of understand why starting and then going to soft, but honestly you want them to all put their best laps. So why yeah, I think it should be soft all three. I would love to know why I'm wrong.
let's yeah, we should get a exec from Pirelli on here so you can ask him that and see
Yeah.
if he's able to answer that because I don't think there is actually an answer to that question
Okay.
of why. I
Yeah,
don't think
okay.
there is. But no, anyways, I just wanted to make sure we discussed that a little bit. I thought it was entertaining. It was interesting at least that they're trying
Yeah.
something new here.
I like the concept. I
Yeah,
just
and
don't understand the
yeah, I think we'll be seeing it one more time this season too. So we'll see
okay.
if it really affects things. The who knows? I feel like Alfa Romeo likes it at least.
Yeah.
That's something. But no, I also want to talk about this Red Bull team though.
Mhm.
12 wins in a row. They have now they're now the sole owners of that record. They
Yeah.
eclipse McLaren, who's owned that record since 1988. Uh,
Yeah.
that is honestly, it's quite the accomplishment. You can't say anything
Yeah.
about this.
No, it's
Honestly, that
impressive.
that's
Kudos.
they're having just an all-time dominant stretch here. And what more is there to even say about this Red Bull team
Yeah.
besides yeah, no one's close to them, no one's touching them,
Yeah.
and just have to appreciate greatness sometimes.
I'll say it now because I have it pulled up. They're over 100 points in the construct. No, that's the driver. Still, holy shit.
Look,
Never mind.
the standings are now like obsolete when it comes to Red Bull and McLaren. I I don't even know what you're reacting to, but it's
The constructor points.
I I don't know if anyone even wants to even think about
I'm gonna say it. I'll say it because you
the
deserve to know, people. Red Bull is at 452 points right now. Number two is what shocks me. Mercedes. I don't. Did they really just get there because of the weekend? At 223.
wow, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
452, 223.
look. So the question though that I have though, they're at 12 wins in a row. How much longer is this thing going for? Do they get the clean sweep?
No, I think it'd be okay. I'm only gonna say that it's impossible for them to get a clean sweep just because of logistics. Like, that'd be insane. Someone's got to get sick. Someone's got to have a bad day. If they don't, then
Who hops in that Red Bull for them though if someone's sick? Because Danny Rick wasn't their third driver anymore.
it's Nick
Uh,
DeVries.
it would be Nick DeVries.
And he gets first
How
place.
poetic would that be? And then he
Yeah.
gets a seat again.
Yeah.
Just
He
rinse and
crushes
repeat.
it. He crushes it. He's only good as a sub. He can't actually be on the team.
No, I mean it's. mm. So I honestly I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I there's really nothing you can say. You could maybe make the case that once Max Verstappen has this thing locked up and he's not really racing for anything, someone might sneak in there. But honestly, I think Max Verstappen coasting is better than the rest of the field. If
Yeah.
that's not a crazy thing to say, right?
No, I get it.
I mean, he's just that talented. 7 wins in a row for Max Verstappen, by the way. Another thing worth mentioning. Yeah. So Max Verstappen, 7 wins in a row. He's also on another all-time stretch. Do you think we are by chance getting a little desensitized to this greatness, though?
In what
So
like we're not we should be celebrating it more than what we are. I'll say
30
that.
seconds.
Yeah.
He won
I
by
think we
30
should be
seconds.
celebrating it more than what we are because we did with Lewis.
It's ridiculous. I think we absolutely are just gotten a little too used to it. Like this is
Yeah.
not supposed to be a thing, right? There are drivers that will race, good drivers, legitimately good drivers who will be in F1 for 15 years and have maybe 2 or 3 wins. He is
Yeah.
over here just crushing everybody and making it look easy. So yeah,
Well,
that's
I feel like that's still how Lewis was in 2020 and like 2021.
and yeah, it's definitely this isn't without precedent. We've seen
Yeah.
this before. Now Max is up there, and the questions will it'll soon start to arise. I think he's got to keep it up going for a little longer, but soon we'll have this the all time conversation. You know,
Oh.
he's not right now. He's knocking on the door. You know,
Yeah, I was about to say, like on like if someone had said it to me right now, I'd be like, okay, I can see it.
and honestly, I'm looking forward to when we can have that conversation because it's um it's pointless, I'll admit,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of fun.
Well, if he gets it this year, then he will have the second most on the track because I think Fernando only has two.
Wow. Well, yeah, there's really nothing left he can do that will take away from this season because we're
Yeah.
halfway through the season. I think this is one of the
I
best
think
dominating seasons we've ever seen. So,
they
uh,
said Singapore, if he like keeps going, and
mhm.
Singapore is like when he'll like clinch it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. That's not that far away, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see if that happens and what the reaction is as far as how these other drivers approach the season once Max has this thing locked up.
Yeah.
Um, real quick, let's just talk about Sergio. Did he save his seat?
No,
Wow.
I don't think he saved. He didn't save it. He kept himself. No, I wouldn't say he kept himself in it. I think this is when they make a pro and cons list. This is definitely a pro, but I don't think he saved it.
I mean, driver of the day. That's got to count for something, right?
I think you and I both know that it doesn't.
We really need to stop rewarding drivers who underperform in qualifying.
Yeah, like
That's
yeah,
like
driver of the I didn't see him getting driver of the day. I was like, I feel like people who
mhm.
voted for him driver of the day just want to keep him in Red Bull.
Yeah, I honestly should have gone to Lando. I think he deserved it
Mhm.
again. But speaking of Lando, let's talk about this McLaren team. In you know, we got to celebrate it while we can because you never know when these things will come crashing. That we this
Mhm.
could be sustainable, or this could be
I don't
Aston
know.
Martin.
I am I am why would you do that? I am optimistic because this was three races in a row with the upgrades. So
Mhm.
I'm riding high with McLaren right
Oh,
now.
yeah, I think it definitely looks sustainable what they have going on here. But I just had to throw out that the
No,
comparison
I know.
because we saw a team come out of nowhere, jump into the conversation for second best team, and
Mhm.
then look at where they are now. But no, I actually think this is different, mainly because McLaren actually has history and they're actually supposed to be here. When
Mhm.
we talk about Aston Martin, it was just weird. It was just a weird feeling that I never really got comfortable with them being a good team. And
Yeah.
but McLaren, it feels right. Okay, it just feels like they're supposed to be here. And so with this McLaren team, their biggest competitor right now is Mercedes. How do
Mhm.
you see this battle between Mercedes and McLaren going forward?
I think if we're basing it especially off of I'm just gonna focus on Hungary. It's gonna be McLaren. I feel like in
So
terms, especially with the way the drivers are interacting with the engineers.
So let me phrase it a little differently. Let's talk about right now where the teams are actually, and we'll just run down the list. Better car right now, Mercedes or McLaren?
McLaren.
Better drivers right now, Mercedes or McLaren?
Ooh. I don't want to take this one.
Say it with your chest. I know it's a bold take to say, but just go ahead, man. Just go ahead.
just just off of this season. If we're going just off this season, I think McLaren.
Wow, I admire your boldness. Okay,
Yep.
and better strategy team, I guess. Mercedes or McLaren?
I'll say tie on that one.
Yeah, and
Because I feel
honestly,
like they both have like made calls and have just been lucky.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm honestly with you all of that except for the drivers. I do think it right now it's Lewis and George. Well,
I
right now it's Lewis versus McLaren. George should be in this conversation too.
well,
Um,
that's why I hesitated because I do think Lewis is the best of like if we're doing the McLaren and Mercedes drivers, Lewis is definitely the best. I do think Lando Norris is better than George Russell. And I think so little of George Russell that I think Oscar Piastri is better right now.
um, that one is honestly a toss-up. George Russell and Oscar Piastri,
Yeah.
which by the way is a slight on George Russell. Oscar
Yeah.
Piastri is new to this still.
Yeah.
But no, so who has a brighter future though?
Ooh, it would be McLaren because they have more to gain because they haven't been like up for years.
Yeah,
So
that
definitely think
all.
it's McLaren.
I think that all depends on what happens with the seating and where Lewis ends up going. So yeah, we'll see. But
You don't think he'd stay at
Len,
Mercedes?
well, hey, I'm talking 2, 3 years down the
Oh,
road.
okay,
Where
okay.
will these teams be?
Mm.
You never know. You know, Father Time catches all of us. Um, but no, so yeah. Oh, all right. So we were talking about Lewis Hamilton, and as a fan of Lewis Hamilton, I have to. This is gonna hurt me to say, but did he cost himself a podium there?
What? Because I have no idea what happened at the start. Like
It
I tried watching, I don't understand what happened with him.
so all right. Max was gonna pass him no matter what. Like
Uh-huh.
that doesn't matter. It just the positioning of their cars. Max had a great jump on him, got to where he needed to go, and it was over. But that was gonna happen in the next couple
Yeah.
laps or so. Now Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, I think they just Lewis kind of messed up as far as his first of all his start was a little rough, and
Mhm.
then positioning his car into those turns not the best that it could have been. So you get those combinations of trying to defend Max. He tried for a little bit, but it was no use. And
Mhm.
then Lando Norris passes him. And I think it's just a case of him trying to defend too much, and your
Okay.
result is you drop 3 places instantly at the start of the
Yeah.
race. So yeah, I definitely think though that if he played it a little better, he would have been on that podium. So,
Okay. Yeah,
well,
because I was honestly so confused. I was like, why is he apologizing? I don't really, but
yeah,
okay.
it was unfortunate, but hey, these things happen. I will say that that qualifying session when he got on pole, that was very hype. I was very
Yeah.
excited at that moment. Um, so yeah, just had to make sure. I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk about Mercedes versus McLaren. This might be a running theme here for the rest of the season, but definitely
Eminem.
something worth keeping an eye on. Now, that's all I really wanted to talk about. Now we can just talk about these random other teams that are often forgotten. And in that
Okay.
conversation, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, because I do have a question that I want to talk to you about then.
Of
That's,
course.
one of the other teams.
Hmm.
Um, Alpine.
Yeah.
I want to throw a question at you because you were always throwing the Zach Brown at me. And I will say I don't think what happened to Alpine in this race was his fault.
Otmar.
But where how long do you see Otmar staying with the team?
Man. Look, this whole season has just gone. It's just a season from hell for Alpine. But
Mm-hmm.
they're sitting, I think, right now, fifth or sixth in the constructors, right?
Six.
Yeah.
Six.
So that is where Alpine belongs, honestly. That's kind of
Okay.
where they end up. So, yeah, this season has been pretty rough, but this is a mid team.
That's
And
wow. That honestly, you just kind of you just kind of cleared it up with that.
yeah,
That's fair. Yeah, that's where they belong.
so I guess you could say, yeah, a change of leadership would be appropriate here. But I mean, this is Alpine. What you
Yeah.
see is what you get. Um, Very unfortunate though. That definitely wasn't any of their driver's fault. I think it was Joe Guan Yu's fault or
Yeah, it
somebody's
was
fault.
Joe hit Ricardo and then Ricardo hit.
Yeah, just unfortunate. Unfortunate all around. But let's see. Who else do I want to talk about here? I think for this segment I need to just get a spinning wheel and
Yeah.
whatever team it lands on. But no, I actually do want to talk about Ferrari though, really quick. Um, this is starting to become normal. Now, if you do want entertainment, one thing that has been entertaining has been Ferrari drivers versus the Ferrari team. I
Yeah.
think there was a moment in there where Charles Leclerc and his team were kind of going at it, and it felt a little uncomfortable, like seeing a couple fight in public, where like you're kind of like into it, but like you're at the same time a little uncomfortable by it. But no, how much longer can this go on for
Dude,
either of these drivers?
I don't know, because even I think it was Carlos Sainz too. He had a moment where he was talking about pitting, and it was like, if I see Perez go in, I'll go in. And then it's just like the engineer is like, yeah, that sounds good. Like,
I just imagine the engineers are just like on their phones, not even
yeah,
paying
at this
attention to the
point.
race at all. Just oh oh shoot, he needs a strategy. Let's go with Plan B.
Just,
Let's
you know what? Take him off the wall. Just take him off the wall and let the drivers race, and I guarantee we'll probably have the same result.
and look, it's unfortunate because this could have been a great battle that we had here between Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes for the second spot, but somebody didn't want to show up. Um,
Yeah.
who also would have been in that conversation is Aston Martin. We talked about this a little bit. What happened? I think I think this is what they are. This is a regression to the mean of the highest order. This is Aston Martin. This is their team, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We're not going to see them fix this, correct?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
I just
agree.
want to make sure I don't sound like a hater right now. That I'm
No,
saying
no.
factual
Yeah.
statements. Um,
Unless you start talking about Lance. I feel like you hate Lance a little, but that's okay.
look, actually, I completely am now at the point where I forget about Lance Stroll, uh,
Oh,
which
that's
is
a good point.
which is worse than hating on someone, might I
Yeah, it
add,
really is.
because he's somewhere around. He may sneak into the points, but he's hovering around 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I guess he's there. He's showing up. Uh, yeah, Lando broke Max's trophy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm actually okay, so this isn't really about like race technique or anything. I guess this is just F1 related. I was so torn on that
How so?
because I'll give you one, my first response, who cares? They have so many trophies. They have so many trophies. Then on the other hand, you see that the trophy itself costs like 40,000. It's all handmade and it takes 6 months. Yes, that does suck for the person, which is why I'm like, okay, so that was shitty. But then I'm also like, well, it was also kind of shitty because I doubt Max actually cared about it. But for the track, that is actually the symbol of reverence, for first place. And it did get broken. So ultimately, yeah, who cares? On the other hand, I could actually see why people were getting upset at Lando, but on the same thing, who
Yeah,
cares?
I mean, you kind of mentioned this. Who cares? I think Max Verstappen was saying the same exact thing. I think
Yeah,
he's no one was less bothered by this than Max Verstappen.
yeah.
We were talking
Like if
about
you've
Max
ever
getting.
broken a friend's glass door and they're okay with it, then it's kind of the same thing.
No one's been here before. No,
Yeah.
but we didn't really talk about Danny Rick. Are you at least happy to see him back?
No, no, I'm not. I'm not. I didn't want him back. It doesn't sadden me, but it's like, oh yeah, he did good. That's what makes it worse.
One day we'll get to the bottom of why you don't care for Danny Rick. But it doesn't have to be today. What would
Yeah,
you,
I
if you
think it
were to
probably has to
run?
do with McLaren.
What was that?
I think it probably has to do with McLaren
Oh, that's
because
honestly
I
very.
was a Danny Rick fan when I first started, like getting into F1.
I forgot about that connection. Actually, it now all makes sense.
Yeah.
If you were to see Daniel Ricciardo right now, what would you say to him?
Um, can I get an autograph?
Wow. Okay, just completely switch up. I respect it.
What? Like I'm gonna be like, I fucking hate you, man.
Uh, at least, hey, at least it wouldn't be violent.
Mm.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes another episode of the Revved Up Podcast. Thank you for joining us as always. We try to do this thing following every race. We'll be back here for Belgium. Until then,